Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to the Phil Road Express. We've got our chat on, and we're going to talk about just old Ameritrash board games that just are really horrible by today's standards, and whether we could up their standards to even somewhat close to today's values. So yeah, I've got Christopher Lachey,
Hi.
who's the caveman with no shirt on, Ian Sullivan, and Sean Sullivan, who
Yep,
can't have
that's
his
me.
camera,
I'm here too.
Just a splash screen.
but we've
Of
got
Sid.
I'm on my phone. Give
he's
me a
on his
break.
phone. But we'll post one of the worst pictures we can possibly find from one of our previous videos in that spot.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So old Ameritrash games. Where do you guys want to start?
Well, what is the worst game that you can think of? So probably the one that has the least input. I would say Candyland. I've never once enjoyed Candyland.
Okay. Yeah.
So
A list on. God, I can't figure out how to do these windows. Freaking Windows.
in fact, I think that's what we were talking about. If you wanna hit us with that goose knowledge again about Candyland, because if I understand it correctly, if I remember, if I can dig deep into my psyche here, you just shuffle a deck of cards and then draw. Like 4 players, you just draw in a row, and then that's it. You just go to the color space that's on the card. Done. That's it. That's the whole game. There's nothing else. There's nothing left to chance, right?
So yeah, the game of the goose or goose game is a board game, 2 more player. You basically roll a dice. There are things on the different places that you land that have different effects or not. It's a racing style game, but it's purely chance. There's no strategy at all. Seems like they thought it originated in the 16th century, and commercial adaptations were known in the 1880s, 1890s.
Okay, so to be fair, I don't want to be mean. Obviously, if I played Candyland in the 16th century, that would be the highlight of my life. Like, I've got 1 pair of pants that I share with my sister. I've got 1 shirt, and I've got an urn. I mean, that's it. Yeah, let's play the goose game.
Yeah. I mean,
Wait. Time out. Your sister has a pair of pants? That's a witch.
Should we have to raise her as a boy? My mother was infested with demons and such that she's a girl.
Yeah, the Spanish Inquisition has already come and killed you all at this point. But you get to play Candyland, so I guess that's better.
But I get to play the goose game.
so let's make this clear. The first Ameritrash game ever came out in Europe.
Wouldst thou like to live deliciously? Then you'll burn.
All right, so
To
Candyland.
be fair, Josh, anybody that wants to say anything negative about any American ever, probably did. We started out in Europe. Yeah, we all kind of came from there, just innately.
We're a result of Europe. This is true.
So yeah, the basic premise of Candyland is you draw 1 card. It has 1 or 2 colors on it. You move that to the next space of that color or 2 spaces of that color forward.
Yeah.
And that's literally it. That's all that happened.
Oh God. So I mean, So wait, there was choice on some of the cards. You could choose between the color.
No. It would be like 2 red. So you would get to move to the next red space and then the next red space after that. You didn't get a choice as to which. So basically, the idea of Candyland is that it's a very simple game in order to teach children, 1, taking turns, 2, colors, and to a very minor extent, numbers, in that here's 1, and here's 2.
Oh God, yeah. So yeah, a lot of these games we're going to talk about are directed towards young kids. But let's face it, if you're the parent of that young kid, you just want to freaking gouge your eyes out and do anything other than that. So how could we take Candyland and make it not suck for adults and even kids?
Let's preface this by saying we're clearly not the first people to do this. And if you do a Google search, alternative rules for probably anything that we're going to mention, you're going to find some stuff written like high fantasy level thing.
So I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Hey, Sean and Topher, you may recall this as a game that we would play in improv back in the days. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Where one person gives good advice, one person gives bad advice, and one person just gives downright ugly advice.
Yeah.
Do we want to take this tack on it?
Yes.
Where like one person gives like, okay, here's how you could do. Like you get a hand of 3 cards and you draw every round and you get your choice of what to play. This introduces choice to the game and makes your decisions matter. Like, oh, that's a good idea. You know,
it still kind of sucks though.
Well, I mean, it at least does.
I mean, at that point, you're playing like the move that gets you to like the farthest places and whatnot. I mean, what this does is it like halves how long Candyland is going to take.
That's already made it better. That has already made it better.
But at the same token,
that's very true.
You have also introduced to your child, you know, choice if you are playing with a child, which then makes it a little bit more involved.
Yeah.
Oh, this is still going to be for children. Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, you know, and then, but see, that's where we take it into then the bad advice is something like, you know, what you do is you stack the decks beforehand so that way you can win the game in the least amount of plays and just show your children that playing against you.
You stack the deck like you're Edward Norton in, was it Rounders? And then you get beaten up and all of your money is stolen.
And you just do this every time so that your children think you're some kind of Candyland god, and they never play it with you again.
This is
and then in the ugly version, you have to face off against John Malkovich. His tail is eating Oreos.
And then the ugly advice is you and your child have to do a shot every time you land on a red.
Okay, that's what I was gonna say. That's a great one. Because if we're taking this, because I'm an adult, I'm never going to be a child again. No childlike innocence here. What does Candyland have? It has a delicious environment.
Oh my God, you're right. Oh my God, what you do is you put Jello shooters on every space.
Well, this game takes 3 hours to set up.
Oh no! If you're the first person, if you're the second person to that space, you get nothing.
Yeah, see, that's the point.
It's whoever has alcohol poisoning by the end. That's the real winner.
Oh wait. No, okay, you want alcohol poisoning? No. The last person to cross the rest of the spaces has to drink all the previous spaces that weren't hit.
Oh God.
Oh, see, what I was going to say is that it doesn't matter, like, you know, once one person crosses the finish line, the game's not done. Everybody still has to play. And so it's just whoever is, the most wasted or the least wasted wins.
Oh, God. Yeah, so.
Yeah, I think Jello
let's be clear.
Candyland.
You're probably dead by the end of this.
I think. How many spaces does Candyland have? I'm going to pull this up.
I think it's 100.
100?
Dude, there's a lot.
You would have to have a board the size of the table.
I'm just gonna.
It gets real roundy at points. There are like two shortcuts. What did you post here?
God.
I just posted.
Dude, that looks like 100 spaces. Yeah, that's like 100 spaces.
Hey, can you
that's a lot of Jello shooters.
Jesus,
okay, so
man,
obviously team game.
First shortcut though. Team game.
Hey Ian, share your screen real quick.
You want me to share that picture?
Yeah, share that.
Designated driver Candyland.
Oh God.
Designated driver.
Peppermint Force, that's your peppermint schnapps, gumball shooters, lollipop woods.
Oh my God. Okay, so this was the only way we could figure out how to make Candyland better was just to turn it into an adult drinking game.
I think you're going to find that works for every game that we're going to mention.
Yeah, I
was going to say.
Who's your target audience? Ian's the one that has experience with teaching kids. but he's also the one that's most likely to drink the most because he teaches kids.
And has 2 children.
Oh man.
Don't forget that having 2 children. That also. Okay, so there we go. Live. There you go. I am now sharing my screen of the original. Actually, I don't know that that's the original, but it is a version of the Candyland board.
Version of it, yeah.
That's not the original. No, I had one that did not look nearly as good as that.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah.
So maybe you just line some of the colors with Jello shooters.
My god.
No, you go big or go home. You do them all.
That is a lot of Jello.
That's fine.
All right. So.
Oh no! You know what would be way easier? Way easier, way less setup.
Talking to your children.
Fuck that. Vodka gummy bears.
I've never had a vodka gummy bear. Be quite honest with you.
You take like a mason jar, or in this case, like a really big mason jar of gummy bears, and you pour vodka in it, or rum, or whatever alcohol have you, and you let them sit for a while so that they absorb the alcohol, and then boom, you're good to go. You set up a little gummy bear on every one of those. Way less time than Jello shooters, and probably also not as likely to destroy you.
Oh, wait. There's actually an easier way to do that. You just use the vodka and you forget the gummy bears.
And you don't play Candyland.
Okay.
You don't play Candyland.
All right, so
vodka.
I think our
let it be known that you can also replace those vodka gummy bears with what our brothers and sisters in the Pacific Northwest and California and Denver or Colorado are also imbibing edibles. Get some low milligram gummy bear edibles.
There you go. There you go. Although
and then an hour and a half after you're done playing Candyland, they all hit you.
I do like the idea of Sean's version where it's just a guy, like this heavyset guy with his shirt off and a bottle of vodka, a bag full of gummy bears, and just a Candyland ablaze in his fireplace.
Yes, burn Candyland. So either turn it into a drinking game or burn it.
Ooh. Add one more level of difficulty. Do the gummy bears, do the vodka gummy bears or whatever, but make sure they're sugar-free gummy bears. So the more spaces you have to land on, the more it is destructive on your colon.
And I had another thought. I want to refine the bad advice. So if the good advice is like you get 3 cards and you get to choose from your hand, the bad advice would be that you then introduce a timer. And if your child can't figure out colors that soon, you just lose your turn. Learn your colors, Timmy.
All right, guys. So let's move on to another game. Chutes and Ladders is almost just as bad as Candyland, right?
I think it is just as bad. It's the same thing.
I've never played it.
It's essentially the same thing, except there's a lot more chutes that can send you back down. Basically,
and gosh darns.
Basically, I think we lost Sean. It's just a linear track once again that just weaves up the board, and then there are chutes that if you land on that space, you just slide back down, further down on the track, closer to the start. That's it.
That sounds like shit.
Here you go. I'll share.
I had no idea.
Yeah, it's a horrible game. I remember playing games like Candyland, and
this is Chutes and Ladders.
Yeah, that's Chutes and Ladders.
That's it. And all it was a spinner. Yeah. I think the maximum number was 6.
So I'm confused. See, everyone starts at 1.
And you go up to 100. The ladders go up, the 6 go down.
So my question is, you spin it and it has like 100 numbers on the spinner?
No, just a 6, 1 through 6. So you spin it and you get to count 6 going forward. Oh, did you land on 5? You get to go up the ladder to 14. Oh, did you land on 16? Back to 6 with you, bitch.
Yeah,
that's why it's a dunce cap. All right. So at least it teaches counting.
See, again, this is the number version of Candyland, where Candyland is like, taking turns and learning your colors.
Oh, God.
Chutes and Ladders is counting. And you could do some basic addition and subtraction with it if you were getting froggy, and also if you hated your children.
But here's what I remember as a child playing these games. Games like Chutes and Ladders and Candyland was you got a bad roll. You landed on space 85 or 88, whichever one that poorly drawn chute is going to.
87.
And this you one, go all the way down to 24.
87. No. My God.
And then you just threw a rage hissy fit because you're going to lose the game.
Okay, but to be fair,
then you get 28 and go all the way back
on
up.
87, he was trying to get cookies off of a shelf that he shouldn't have, and that's why he has a concussion and broken cookies. That's why he deserves to be all the way down there.
Oh, so it teaches morals too, huh?
Oh.
Screw that.
I mean, in as much as tiny little pictographs that cause rage in children because, it's an unfair world to teach morals.
That makes sense. So if you cut the grass, you get to go to the fair. If you help
the puppy out of a tree, you get a puppy. Oh no, that's a cat. You get a kitty.
This girl looks like number 62. If you help your mother put the dishes away, you drop them, you clumsy bitch. Go down to 19.
You weren't supposed to be holding mother's fine china anyway.
I gotta say, 64 is some bullshit. Because it's this kid on a bike who's like, hey, sweet road tricks. And then he's like, my arm is broken. And it's like, that's what you get, you dumb bitch.
Wait a minute. How old is this game? I saw that meme. The guy that put the sticks in his spoke.
Okay, so here's my question.
I have to say, okay, so 64, he gets his freaking arm broken, but he's only gone back 4 spaces. 47, the child is skating where there's supposed to be no skating, and he's like, "Aw, I got some hypothermia and might die." Cookies, though.
Now he's deaf in one of his ears.
Cookies get you 60 points backwards, and 62. I agree with Josh. Topher. She was at least trying to help, although in a poor fashion. That sends you back 40 spaces, you dolt.
Oh my God. Okay, so let's make this game better. Even for young children, let's add some choice into this. Like, and number one, just scratch this stupid 1 to 100 thing.
Sure. All right, hear me out. Vodka gummy bears on every square.
I'm afraid we're gonna have to. Okay, all right, vodka gummy bears. Let's move on to something new. Can we make this game better without the use of alcohol?
Okay. Question. Target audience children, target audience adults. Because that's going to make a massive difference.
Here's the thing. If we do target audience adults, we can't use alcohol. That's the cheap way out.
Okay, fair enough. Because with children, what I might say, if the original intent is to teach them numbers and addition and subtraction anyway, what you might want to do is do something along the lines of giving them cards of much higher values than 1 through 6 to speed the game up, but then making them have to do the addition to get to where they're supposed to go. Honestly, numbered cards and choice, again, very similar to making Candyland have choice, I think may be the way, so that way you're like, should I play a 7 right now? I don't know. Count. Where's 7 going to put you? Is it going to put you on a slide? Oh, right. I shouldn't play a 7, even though it's my highest card. I should play a 3 this round.
So if you can avoid all the slides, then what's the point of having those? Like, if we fix it that way, there has to be a way that another person can push you onto a negative space.
Because I'm going back for the original intent being to teach children basic arithmetic and numbers. You let them have the chance to never get on a slide by playing intelligently with choice. So you give them 3 cards of like 1 through 10, and they have to be able to count ahead and go, which card should I play? So that way, if they're morons and they're not counting, they slide down, and then you're like, oh, see, you should have counted out your move before you just played a big card, idiot.
I have I have one addition I'd like to make to that.
Okay.
Where you keep the cards, but you still have the dice. So what happens is that you roll, and when somebody else rolls, you play your cards on the opponent.
Ooh,
there you go.
Now that would just be a shit move on kids, but
that would be a rage fest. Yeah.
But on to make it an actual playable game, that's actually not bad.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my other idea is Chutes and Ladders 40K.
Okay.
You start out on opposite ends of the board, and you actually are trying to make it to each other's side with your pieces. But the problem is that you can only fire at each other across the ladders and the chutes.
See, I even like that better. That's something.
And the idea is to do a certain amount of damage, and you basically start moving each other around, and you try to kill each other because Chutes and Ladders is a for serious game, right?
So, going back to Ian's, if you were to try and make this a viable kids game, I would also shorten.
Shit, no, call it like Spy Duel or some shit.
Yeah. I would also shorten the slides and the ladders so that if you did go back, okay, you're not like 85 to freaking 24, like just totally shit out of luck. You're not going to win this game.
I also
think you need to update the actual images themselves.
Yeah.
I don't think kids really care about cookies. They don't care about. They're definitely not going to cut the yard with a manual push mower just so they can go to the fair and get assaulted by a clown.
No,
they're not going to do anything
on the internet. That's going to be one of the slides.
Exactly. Don't eat Tide Pods. Don't release Daddy's OnlyFans account information. Or Mommy's, whatever. If you do one more Fortnite dance, I'm going to divorce your mother.
All right. Oh man, that's pretty good. All right, guys. What's the worst advice you can give for this game?
Keep it the same.
Keep it the same.
The worst advice is to make your child actually do the things that are illustrated.
Break his arm.
Okay, go ride this bike and break your arm.
No. I've got the worst advice. I've got it. Okay, so instead of the pictures of like the kids doing stuff, you put like the worst sexual acts that you don't want at all on the chutes, and then the best ones that you want on the ladders. You play this with your significant other, and no matter how fucking terrible it is on the chutes, like, I don't know, the 87 to 24 is like you've got a shit on her chest or some shit. Like, neither one of you want to do it. I got the shoot.
Oh no! I
landed on 87.
I guess I'm not going to do it.
I'm sorry, honey.
God damn it! I'm so sorry.
I want to say this. This is not as funny as what Sean said, but I think it's important, especially because we're talking about making it as bad as possible for little kids, and it's not sexual. It's not a gimmick. What you do is you have what's called equity of outcome. So whenever one kid does well, he lifts everybody up. When one kid does bad, everybody has to follow him down. It's like...
That's actually a game. There is actually...
Yeah, it's called communism.
It's called Common Core. What is it? Communism?
Have you not seen that stupid... Sean, don't you remember that stupid game that our mother got?
Oh, God.
Where it was like...
Oh! Shit, yeah. It's like wild something?
Yeah, it was
Wild Stallions.
The entire point was you have to go up and pick mulberries for grandma to be able to make mulberry jelly. But along the way, you also pick herbs because you're tiny little alchemists, I guess. And if somebody gets bitten by a bee or
gets diarrhea or
eats something they shouldn't have and gets diarrhea, somebody else who has like the herbs they need has to go and get them. And so basically it's just people making poor decisions and dragging the entire group down, and everybody else having to be like, okay, well, I guess we have to find the freaking herbs that you stopped shitting your pants.
And that immediately sounds better than Chutes and Ladders or Candyland.
This game not just called D&D.
Oh God.
All right, I'll stop streaming. You're streaming.
All right, so let's go on to something that even adults play. Like this is like more of a family game, the game of life.
All right.
Okay.
The game of life. I mean, we talked about it, we joked about it. Oh, you do get to make a decision. Do you go to college or straight into the workforce?
Can I invest everything into cryptocurrency right out of high school?
Yes. I'm going to say yes to whatever you guys come up with, and we'll put every single one of these into the new version. We'll call it Life Sucks. And we'll make the word life have the same font as the game of life.
Okay, well, I'm 18. I've got a Twitter, an Instagram. I want to sign up for an OnlyFans account as a producer or whatever they're called, a content creator. My YouTube channel is going to kick off anytime now. And I'm really pushing Ethereum coin and sushi coin or whatever just got exit strategied out.
Okay, I would say...
I'm sorry. I just had a completely different thing happen. I was trying to find an image of the board to pull up. And the first one that I did, I was zooming in to try to see the text, and it was Russian. And my first thought was, at what point do you get poisoned by Vladimir Putin for speaking against his regime?
Do they do localization for the game of life? I would love to see third world game of life. I want to see Russian game of life. I want to see Somalia game of life. No, he's a pirate. He's doing really well.
Oh, God.
Like the Somalian game of life, if you roll a 1, it says you immediately die of like dysentery or something.
You die of dysentery.
I would
Your mother abandons you under a bridge. Roll for a new character.
You were born a twin, and they think that that's actually a demon who is going to possess everybody, and they leave you out in the woods to die.
You have to make it to 7 years old for personhood.
Oh my God.
So serious things for the game.
This is the image.
We are serious.
Of
no, that's a serious fix. I really think it would be funny to do a localization and you take different countries with different economies and you make versions of the game of life. You want to do that? Put that in schools and let kids play it. Let kids play the Chinese game of life where they have to watch their social credit score. Otherwise, they get brown shirted and hauled off to the gulag. Okay. Or the North Korea game of life.
But I think...
Yes.
The game of life.
The only choice is in the beginning where you get to start college or start your career. And then
there's a couple places where the paths diverge. And that's
Yeah.
So I've never played Game of Life. So you either go to college or you start a career?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you draw a card that gives you a job, and that job tells you how much income you earn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Each round, and then you just go down the paths. Things happen to you on those paths. Oh, do you have enough money to pay the bills?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you don't have enough money because you ended up being a janitor instead of a stockbroker when you went to college. Oh, but if you go to college, you have college debt too, or something like that.
What about when you've got, are the numbers realistic? Like, first off, you got to update those numbers to make them realistic. Like, your state degree for English is still going to run you $75,000. And if you went to your fancy liberal arts college for whatever, I don't even make fun of people with liberal arts degrees. I've got one myself. I think we all do. But if you go to that private community, that private school, you're going to have an overwhelming amount of debt. It's like, you can either try to declare bankruptcy or kill yourself. Like, are these options in the game of life?
I hate to tell you this, Topher, but I do not have a liberal arts degree. I actually have a Bachelor of Science.
Oh, that's right, because you did the thing where you...
Education.
Whatever, I don't give a shit.
So in your face. What concerns me too is you have to stop here and get married. First of all, you have to get married after you've gotten your job and go to college, which my parents can tell you that's not how it works.
The game of life based on the 60s ideals.
And you have to buy a house. You can't afford a house because the market is shit and the Chinese keep buying up housing. So that way you can only rent at outrageous prices.
You have to buy a house?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right here.
Yeah.
You see all these red spots where it says stop? Those are life moments that you have to do.
Does it say anywhere in the rule book that when you get married, it has to be the opposite sex?
No, it doesn't.
Does that matter? Does that actually come up?
Yes, there are blue and pink pegs that you put in your car.
Yeah.
And it'll tell you, oh, hey, if you land on this space, you have twins.
You can put whatever peg you want in your husband, okay?
But no, serious fix for this game, get rid of the stupid linear track once again and the rolling mechanic. It's got these plastic buildings.
Hold on. We got to do it with what's on the board. You can't redesign the board.
Who said we can't redesign the board? We redesigned that on the other boards.
No, we
didn't actually. We kept everything the same.
We just put booze on it.
Well,
the only thing we talked about doing in Chutes and Ladders was changing the images, not the board itself.
Well, that's your fault for not changing the crappy board.
Well, no, I think this is the guidelines we have to stick to. We're not allowed to change the board. You have to be able to pick up a version of life and play it by the rules that we're trying to say to make it better.
No,
Josh, we can hear your argument, but I think you're running dangerously close to just making a new game.
Just making a new game. Is that what the problem is? But here's my problem with it, though. Any game that has just a linear track like this is immediately not fun to me. And it's two of the worst mechanics ever created for board games are a roll and move exactly. So it's like, oh, I rolled a 6. I have to move 6. I have no other choice. And the linear track. So
what if when you landed on a square, instead of you have to get married, it was just like, do you want to get married now? I mean, you've been dating for 4 years and she's getting real anxious about it. If you don't, then when you get to another spot, you have to draw 3 cards, and one of them might be she takes the dog.
Okay, in that case, I would still have to change the board a little bit. I would put freaking, the board is pretty much like a road. I would put intersections in there where you can go to different areas, and getting to the end of the road doesn't mean you win the game. It would just be another option that you could get to.
I have a suggestion for how to make this game fun.
Okay.
So you need a bare minimum of 4 players, all right?
All right.
And you have 3 people that are trying to keep the timeline on track, and you have 1 person that's trying to break the timeline. And basically you get at the very start, okay, this person's life has to go like this. And so between the people spinning, they have to try to make sure that the timeline goes a certain way. Like this guy, if he doesn't become a policeman and get shot in a terrible accident and have 3 kids, he's going to become Hitler. And so they have to try to make enough spins to keep the timeline somewhat in charge while the other guy is trying to fuck it up. And try to bring about this space Hitler guy.
So this is life. Steins Gate.
I like your contested idea, and I think the way to go for it is to just make another deck of cards that are bad things, and that every time you land on one of these little tokens that are on one of these little spots that says life, you get to draw one of those cards and keep it in your hand and then play it on another player at whatever point you want to. So it's
nearly as fun as time travel shenanigans.
You don't. Okay, so then you don't finish with the idea of somebody's like, haha, I got a payday. And you're like, oh, but you also have prostate cancer. It's like, oh God.
I shouldn't laugh.
Go back.
No, that's even better, though.
3 spaces.
I've
You
never-
have
At
prostate
least-
cancer?
Oh my God. If
At
the
least in that
highlight-
version, you have a real life problem. Oh God, I have prostate cancer.
Does your job have health care? No, it doesn't. Well, then give me all your money.
Okay, and then there you go. If you
To
get
everyone
prostate
out there
cancer,
with dick cancer, we're sorry.
no. If you get prostate cancer, there's going to be a hospital space on the board, and you have to drive to that hospital space in a certain number of moves, or you die.
Oh, you know what would be even better? Okay, so you got that career idea.
Yeah.
Limit down your career stuff,
Mhm.
and those life card things that you can play against each other benefit different occupations. So if you hit somebody with the "oh no, you have cancer" card, whoever is the occupation that is the doctor gets to take that money.
Oh, that's good. And whatever job you have, your car has to make it to that space. Otherwise, you get fired.
What if your car just breaks down? Is there just a breakdown the car
That could be a card. That could be a card that you play on somebody, and
On somebody
whoever is
else.
the mechanic character that didn't go to college and just started their career, now they get your money.
Yeah, and if you can play it on the doctor, then you can also use the amplifier card called Jack Up the Prices.
And if
You're
you're
like,
a mechanic,
sorry, the book says it's a minimum of 12 hours to rebuild these brakes.
Yeah, no, I think the way to do it is because there's so many little spaces that have life, but not all of them. So you still have like a random chance as to whether or not you get these cards that can fuck other people over. Of course, you do still have some like get married gives you an automatic life card.
But here's the other thing too, though. If there were multiple streets and intersections, then it would be, oh wait, I can either land on this space or this space. Which space do I want to land on?
There are
That's not how life works, Josh. That's not how life works. You don't get to choose shit.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
So when you got up this morning, you didn't get to choose what you did before you went to work?
I had to wait for my body to purge itself of alcohol.
But again, we can't change the board. What we can do is like
No,
add
yes,
some
yes, you
cards.
can. Yes, you can
No,
change
we
the board a
can.
little bit.
No, because I don't know how to mold plastic, Josh. Do you? I do know how to print out some shitty cards off, designed off the internet, though.
I do kind of agree, Ian, your idea could work, but my one thing would be that instead of trying to make like a deck of cards that everybody draws from to see if they can fuck people over, I think every profession should have their own deck of cards. Not like a huge deck,
How many professions
but like
are there?
certain powers that they can use.
Yeah, there could be no huge decks in this game. It's a family game.
Well, maybe you could
Yeah.
Only small decks allowed in this family.
Hold on, because there are things like, remember there are all kinds of little spaces where whatever bad happens to you, it has a name. It has, things that happen.
I know, but
So
but like if you're the police officer, you have like one of your cards is like plant evidence on somebody or some shit.
You draw the card. No, unjustified shooting.
Yeah, exactly.
If
It's
two
like some of
people
these
wreck their
cards
cars,
you can only you do it if you're the police officer, or you can only have like a shitty lawsuit if you're a lawyer.
I'm going to disagree with that because I think there's more interesting choices to be had in you having to look at, like, who's going to benefit from this card that I'm playing? Who do I want to fuck over? How do I fuck over this person? I know that somebody that might not be me may benefit, but they're not as far ahead, so it benefits me in a way to have the person who's ahead get screwed. I think it makes it more dynamic and more strategic, rather than every card that you would play benefits you specifically in some way.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is that you would play these cards on other people. I mean, you wouldn't have plant evidence on yourself.
No, but what I'm saying is if you get a card that says, when you're wrongfully accused, you have a card that's wrongfully accused, and you're the mechanic, then you have to consider whether or not you want to play that, because you're going to put the cop character ahead, but or the lawyer character ahead, depending on how you design the card. But you have to be like, well, but whoever it is that's playing the professor is really doing too well, and I want him to be wrongfully accused, even though that's going to benefit the lawyer.
I understand what you're saying, but my problem with that is there are so many professions that you're not going to have all of them in play.
Okay,
so
well,
more often than not, you're going to pick up a card that's going to be like, oh man, this might benefit the police officer, and there's no police.
Okay, but then you at least still screw one person over. I don't know. I think that's... Well, how many occupations are there in life?
Ian, so you're suggesting cards that not only screw somebody over, but they also benefit somebody. Sean, you're seeing that as an issue because if it screws somebody over but that card isn't that other profession isn't in play, then it's just only 50% effective.
Right.
You want, like, you're the cop, you have your own cards. You should be able to play plant evidence and just fuck over the mechanic or screw over the mechanic or the doctor or whatever.
Yeah. There's only 9 careers. Yeah. There's 9 careers. Athlete
and artist, get out of here. These are not this is clearly from the mind of somebody that is a boomer.
Okay.
Oh, he's gonna be an artist someday.
Athlete.
Oh, there's
artist,
no lawyer.
Teacher, doctor, computer consultant.
So this life is truly nirvana.
No, wow.
Accountant, entertainer, and police officer.
Entertainer. There's your lawyer.
Wow.
So, okay. But
that's my boy. He's going to be on Ed Sullivan.
That's my take. I think that one at least adds in some, I think it takes that, screw people out of stuff element like Sean was talking about in Chutes and Ladders and helps it.
That my take is you've got to adjust even if we kept the board the same way it is now, you would still have to draw some intersections in there, allow people to go whatever path they want, and then have hey, this game ends in a certain number of rounds, and whoever has had the best life, has the least negative cards or the most wealth or whatever you want to consider to be, happiness is the winner.
That's
you can launch your own Kickstarter to reprint and mold new plastic for the game of life.
Hey, you guys are adding cards into the game.
It's a piece of paper, dude. You just get like 8.5 by 11 piece of paper and just get you don't even need an inkjet printer. You just you've done this. We've done this. We've got these demos from producers of games. Like, it's just pieces of paper. You don't need anything else.
Yes, but the whole idea of this conversation was that there were no limits.
Okay, fine. That's fair.
But I thought we were
realistically, this is what we can do to realistically make this game, breathe new life into it. Because they're never going to make new versions of the game of life.
No, absolutely not.
It's not.
But the whole premise of this conversation was to say, what would it take to make this a good game? And
I thought it was what would it take that you could do, between now and your board game night, tonight, and you didn't have any cool board games except the shit you found in your grandma's attic.
I'm sorry for not making that more clear. No, this was idealistically speaking.
Hey, real quick, because we can do this with the game of life. We saw what the 9 jobs were in the game of life. Well, here's the expansion pack. We're adding 10 new careers. What are your 10 new careers? Because I have a vote. I want to see NEAT on there. I want to see an NEET as a career path on there, just like a government leave. Every time it's payday, it's just your mom's disability check.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, man.
And to be fair, Cam Girl is also on there.
What is
Isn't that just an entertainer?
No, because that could be stand-up comic, and those end up 2 very different lives. One makes $10,000 a day on OnlyFans, and the other one makes $75 a week trying to work at a bar in the middle of the desert.
But I think the genre is still close enough.
Okay, fine.
Okay, fine. Let me be more clear. Let me be more clear then. A whore.
A lady of the night.
A lady of the night.
Sean, isn't that just a salesperson?
Oh, I work in sales.
No, that'd be the pimp.
He's the banker.
All right, guys. Well, I think that's all we've got time for this video. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed watching this video, if you watched this long, we appreciate it, and please like and subscribe. Check out more of our board game and video game videos.
Hey, John.
What's that?
How many people watch our videos but aren't subscribed? What percentage?
Thanks, Christopher. Over 98% of the people who watch our videos aren't subscribed. Just hit
Hey,
the
what
subscribe
the
button.
fuck?
Well, to be fair, Topher, those 4 people can't find the button.
They can't find the unsubscribe button. I accidentally hit this button that sends me emails every time these idiots make a video. How do I get rid of this? All right, guys.